In this session, I want to give you an overview of a very important protocol, one of the most important ones built on top of the blockchain, which is Ethereum. Now, if you're not familiar with the Ethereum blockchain business model, this is a very important session because you're going to understand by the end of it the main components of this blockchain protocol, what makes it up, what are the economic incentives behind it, and how this is evolving. Now, keep in mind that if you want to understand how to break up blockchain business models, you want to look the session related to the blockchain-based business models framework that we developed. But for now, we're going to look at four main components, which is the value model, the blockchain model, the distribution model, and the economic model of Ethereum. Now, if we go into the value model, we see that the mission of Ethereum is to actually enable development of a decentralized web via the development of various applications like decentralized applications, decentralized autonomous organizations, which is one of the key use cases on top of which was Ethereum developed, and decentralized finance and NFTs and many other stuff. So really, when we look at Ethereum is really more like a global computer, or at least it's trying to build that or scale that, because it has proved the viability of the project, but now it's working on scale things up, so in bringing things from a few transactions per second to thousands of transactions per second on top of this blockchain. And therefore the vision is really to create a new model for the web where there is no single entity in charge. Really, this is the dream. Of course, the vision is always something very, very ambitious that is gonna prove or not viable in the over time. And in terms of value proposition, there are several elements that make up the Ethereum protocol, from the simplicity of the protocol, at least when it comes also for the ability to code on top of it, to the philosophy behind it. So Ethereum again is not thought of as a protocol where you can build a single thing. It's more built as a programming language where you can do many things. So things like universality and modularity are the most important parts that make up the protocol. And then when we look at the blockchain model, you see that really right now the Ethereum 1.0, it's working on a proof of work, which is the same consensus algorithm that another protocol like Bitcoin uses. Instead, now the whole protocol it's moving toward the Ethereum 2.0, which is made of proof of stake. This is a process that is going to take still a few years to fully roll out, where we see a completely scalable Ethereum blockchain, which right now is able to handle very few transactions per second, up to 30, 40, and we need to see a protocol that is able to handle thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of transactions per second, if it wants to really become the most valuable computer in the world, the decentralized computer in the world. And then the distribution model, it's really made of a few key elements, from the core development team behind the protocol, which is really working as a software development team, which is behind a roadmap which is shared by the core development team, which they use to actually build up the whole protocol over time. A fast evolving protocol with thousands of potential commercial use cases, and not the core protocol, because we know that the development of the core protocol, it's kind of slow, even though it's very complex protocol that is coming up. But really in terms of use cases, because let's remember that on top of it are getting built many other tokens, the so-called ERC20, which are tokens built on top of Ethereum. So many additional layers are getting built also independently on top of the Ethereum blockchain. And then of course also the institutional and enterprise side is very important, and the ability to launch your own token on top of the Ethereum has been one of the most critical elements that enabled its scalability, because let's remember that again many other let's say cryptocurrencies have been built on top of Ethereum as independent tokens that though use Ethereum as foundation to actually build up their own use cases. Example are for instance the Brave browser, or for instance like the Graph, or many other like things like Uniswap, which is a decentralized platform for exchange of cryptocurrencies, many other things. And when it comes instead to the economic model, you know that when it comes to Ethereum is still Ethereum 1.0 is still a proof of work. Therefore, it has still to align mining incentives to enable the protocol to grow. There is the tokenization and ICOs to enable more people to join in this sort of evolution. The staking incentives, which is something that is going to become very important in Ethereum 2.0. So in a proof of stake mechanism, you're gonna get people that will be able to lock in their cryptocurrencies so that they can participate in the consensus mechanism of the protocol going forward, and in exchange they're gonna get rewarded in cryptocurrencies over time. So this is extremely important. And so also another economic model is that the whole platform has been built for decentralization. So it's true that right now scalability is not the strength of the blockchain platform of Ethereum, but over time this needs to be improved. And we can look now at the last element, which is really the flywheel of Ethereum, that starts by looking at the core development team. So the core development team, which is behind the project, which is always there, which is following through the development roadmap, is extremely important because this is what brings things forward at fundamental level. Then new use cases that get built on top of it, things like, you know, NFTs, DAOs, and many other applications that are, you know, getting built each year on top of the platform. These also bring more users, and more users also bring more investors and businesses. And so more money, let's say more currency and money comes into the Ethereum ecosystem, which is also used to lower and lower over time gas fees, and therefore improve also the adoption by the developers, and improve also the adoption by new use cases and more users seen. So this is the sort of flywheel that we see for a blockchain-based protocol like Ethereum. And this is pretty much it. This is a very interesting project to follow. It's very important to understand the various elements that make it up. We saw the various pieces like the value model, blockchain model, the distribution model, and the economic model.